Did Marco Rubio call his boss Donald Trump stupid? Well, this has been the biggest question that the entire world has been asking after WION questioned the United States Secretary of State in New Delhi. My colleague Siddhant Sibal asked him a simple and a legitimate question. What do you have to say about the racist comments made against India and Indians in America? Rubio's response left more to the imagination than he would have liked. Let's play that interaction for you once again.
A lot of racism, racist comments coming from the United States against Indians, Indian Americans. So this goes against the basic price of India-U.S. relationship. What's your take on that?
I don't know how to address that, but I'll take that very seriously about the comments. Look, I'm sure that there are people that have made comments online and other places because every country in the world has stupid people. I'm sure there's stupid people here. There's stupid people in the United States that make dumb comments.
Now, while Rubio and the State Department were still absorbing what had happened, the State Department quietly deleted their post on X. And then the U.S. Secretary of State gave out this clarification earlier today.
Question you got yesterday on racist comments about
I don't know who he was talking about, but I assumed that he was talking about like people posting stuff online. I don't even know. Some of those could be a troll, it could be a bot, I don't know. So that's why I asked him specifically, can you tell me what you're talking about and who you're talking about? He didn't have a specific example.
Something was reposted by the president where he was talking about India being, quote unquote,
well, I gave him a chance to tell me that. That's not what he said. The president loves India. He said it last night. Were you guys there when he called in for the event last night, the 250? The president's a big fan of India, a big fan of Prime Minister Modi. I wouldn't be here if the president didn't want me to be here. He cares. He wouldn't have sent someone like Sergio to be our ambassador, someone who's very close to the president.
Now, remember, Marco Rubio's comment came hours after Donald Trump, the U.S. president, said that he loves India and he loves Narendra Modi during a phone call. Take a look.
I love India. I love India. Just want to say hello to everybody. I love the Prime Minister. Modi is great. He's my friend.
In fact, a day earlier, Rubio had invited Prime Minister Modi to the White House on behalf of President Donald Trump. Now, Marco Rubio's India visit, which is still underway, is being touted as a repair mode visit. In fact, not just repair, but also recalibrate what India and America have lost out on since the ties became strained under Trump's second presidency. Revive the Quad grouping, which many say is dead, and reinforce the India-U.S. ties. So has Marco Rubio been able to repair or recalibrate the ties? Well, let's go one by one. Number one is trade. Trade has arguably been the most politically sensitive issue between India and America. Marco Rubio, as expected, spoke about the trade deal during his visit. India, remember, wants relief from tariffs, deeper access to the American markets, and more investment in manufacturing, especially after a recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling struck down some of Trump's tariff actions. So far, Marco Rubio has only spoken about how this trade deal would benefit the American farmers and businesses. Energy is the second most important agenda of this visit. India has unfairly been at the receiving end of Donald Trump's pressure. Even though extra tariffs for buying Russian oil have been removed, U.S. officials have signaled that Washington wants to expand its share of India's energy market, especially in oil and liquefied natural gas. This, for the U.S., leads to the wider effort of curbing sources of revenue for Russia. For India, meanwhile, the agenda is not just around where to get oil from. It's also about the price, about long-term contracts, all while ensuring that India's strategic autonomy sustains. Reviving the Quad comes in at number 3. Marco Rubio has been praising the Quad. On Tuesday morning, that's the 26th of May, India, United States, Australia and Japan will hold the Quad foreign ministers meeting. Now, this grouping began as a key platform for cooperation on maritime security, supply chains and regional strategy. But many are now asking, is it relevant in 2026? Well, for India and America, it has to stay relevant. India becomes part of a major alliance with economic powers minus China. The Indian effort to ensure an expansionist China stays in control is boosted by the Quad. For United States, on the other hand, remember, Quad serves as a deterrent against its competitor China, which continues to expand its military and economic influence in the Indo-Pacific. Rubio's presence at the Quad foreign ministers' meeting will signal continued U.S. engagement, even though the grouping has not elevated itself to regular leader summit yet. An irritant in the ties has been Trump's growing proximity with Pakistan's Asim Munir as well. Here's what Rubio said today on a question of Pakistan.
They're concerned about the things they're always concerned about, obviously. India is always pointing to the fact that there are armed terrorist groups operating from Pakistani territory that target India. They're always concerned about that. But as far as the role they played as a mediator and a facilitator in the Iran situation, it never came up. I don't think that they would complain about that. I mean, their issues with Pakistan are different.
Now, even though the United States insists that its ties with both India and Pakistan are separate, the way it deals with the two countries has largely been guided by the reported cryptocurrency and critical mineral deals catalyzed by Pakistan. Here's why I say that. Donald Trump has been much harsher with India on tariffs and energy despite good relations. But Trump went a complete 360 degrees reverse in how he dealt with Pakistan in his earlier term and how he deals with them now. So, would you call Trump's I Love India and Narendra Modi as recalibration? Would you say that the Quad meeting is a resetting of ties? Or do you think that the massive loss of trust that Indians feel with America today is testimony of the long time that it will take to recover? Well, the answer is not going to be so easy.